The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
The Chris Salcedo Show. Conservative talk radio with Spice.
But if you can help one child who has cancer, why wouldn't you do it?
Listen.
Why pit one against the other?
Why would we want to do that?
Why would you want to do that, Harry Reid? I don't know. Helping a kid with cancer. I mean, you Democrats, the party of compassion and blah, 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 blah. Why would you want to help a kid with cancer, for crying out loud? Oh, these people are priceless. But what ticks me off is they're getting away with it. Before the break, we were outlining this program in Dallas ISD, again, through the Department of Agriculture. You've got local governments just ceding power to the federal government for the goodies. It's so hard to walk away from that. I mean, regardless of your income, your kid now in Dallas ISD can get their breakfast and their lunch for free. It's not free. We all know somebody pays for it, right? But President Obama will just borrow it once the debt ceiling is elevated. And everybody wonders why. Why do you make such a big deal about the debt ceiling? That's why. Because they're just borrowing money and doing stupid crap like this. Millionaires and billionaires have their kids' breakfast and lunch paid for by the federal government. Does that make sense to you? We've seen it in the food stamp program. We've seen it across the board in government. Lax regulations designed, I can only surmise, designed to bankrupt the country. Designed to say, look, capitalism doesn't work. That's not capitalism. That's not even the ballpark of capitalism. One guy who's probably going to agree with me, and I do want him to weigh in on this story and other things, is my next guest. His name's Wayne Allen Root. You know the name. Capitalist evangelist, he is known. One of the most dynamic, charismatic, and fiery national media powerhouses out there in our nation's day. Wayne's a former presidential candidate, 2008 Libertarian vice presidential nominee, and a gifted writer as well. His latest book is called The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. It became #1 national bestseller, as you would expect. He's got a new book coming out called The Murder of the Middle Class, which we'll talk to him about in greater detail during the interview. Wayne, welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show here on The Blaze.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Fantastic, man. And you have an article that's up on The Blaze, too, that we're going to get to in due course, but I had to let you weigh in. We all have detailed and just sat there with our mouth hanging wide open at what's going on in the food stamp program. Now you've got in conservative Texas, the Dallas ISD saying, you know what? We're just going to let any child, regardless of their family's income level, have free breakfast and free lunch. Are you kidding me?
Well, this is the idea. This is the whole philosophy of Barack Obama in a nutshell. Remember, I wrote The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, but lots of people write books. Very few of them know Obama like I know Obama. I can predict what he's going to do months before he does it. I'm like an idiot savant. I'm like the horse whisperer, except I'm the Obama whisperer. And the reason I know him so well, and I understand what he's up to, and I know his game plan intricately, is because I'm his college classmate, Columbia University, class of '83. And I'm very upfront saying from the beginning in every interview, never met him, never saw him, never heard of him, don't know anyone at Columbia who ever met him, saw him, or heard of him. But that doesn't mean he didn't go there. He was the ghost of Columbia. It's a strange story. No one can quite understand it. I do. You can get into an Ivy League school, Chris, and once you're into Harvard or Columbia, you can never go to class, you can never study. The next 4 years, you could party for 4 years, and you still graduate with a gentleman's C. They believe once you're in, you're the most elite, brightest, exclusive bunch in the world, and no one checks if you come to class. And you're guaranteed you're going to graduate, even if you get straight D's or gentleman's C's. So my point in all this, to answer your question, is what was Obama's deal at Columbia, and how does it tie into the food stamp program and free meals at school? Obama wasn't in class because I believe he was out with his friends who were all communists and socialists plotting the downfall of capitalism. And when we were at Columbia, here's what everybody talked about day and night. Cloward Piven. Mm-hmm. Professor Richard Cloward and Frances Piven, husband-wife professor team, who believed the only way to destroy America was from within. You had to elect someone who's handsome, who's personable, who doesn't seem like a communist, who acts nice, who claims he's a moderate, but who is a communist. And once in office, you overwhelm the system with entitlement spending, food stamps, welfare, you name it, and of course debt, because it all leads to debt. And that's what Obama's trying to do, whether it's getting rid of caps so that everybody can eat free at school, whether it's giving food stamps to illegal immigrants, which happens every second of every day, whether it's hiring recruiters. That's the term they use. The U.S. government hires recruiters and gives them bonuses for getting more and more people on food stamps, and then gives them literature, Chris, that sounds like the Soviet Republic. It sounds like communist propaganda. The literature handed out in America today says it's patriotic to accept food stamps.
Good grief.
How about the fact that the U.S. government uses your taxpayer money to advertise in Mexico to tell Mexican citizens that your relatives in America can get food stamps even though they're illegal? Be sure and tell them that. Folks, America is gone if this continues for another 3 years, completely obliterated. And that was the plan at Columbia, don't you see? That's what's happening in front of us.
Right there with you. And by the way, this dovetails perfectly in the discussion on Wayne's submission to the Blaze, and you can catch it right now. Obama is 100% red, white, and blue American born. And you get into this in great detail in this article. By the way, just on Facebook alone, 5.8 thousand shares of this article. So it is really starting. And because of your straightforward talk, Wayne, because of how you articulate and the way you lay things out, you are a huge threat to the Obama administration, to Harry Reid and his ilk, because, and I think Harry Reid has bought into the Obama agenda, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, Harry Reid took a trip over to China, and he was saying it was some diplomatic mission. He took a couple of Democrats and a couple of Republicans with him as well. The summation was they were scoping out property for themselves. Once the fall happened, so they could relocate over to the People's Republic of China. Again, a lot of speculation. But now, after seeing what I have witnessed over these last 5 years, I'm starting to become a believer.
It's, there are things going on that are so beyond the pale that you start to realize it's a purposeful plan by progressive communists to destroy the United States of America. And there's no point in pussyfooting around anymore. There's no point in saying nice things about it. The country's going under. Here's the thing, Chris. I'm a guy who, because I ran for president of the United States, albeit as a libertarian, never had a chance to win, but I was the vice presidential candidate. I did travel the country. I did meet thousands of people. I am very well known on the Blaze and Fox News, and I'm a very big media figure. I have lots of friends. I answer every email from every stranger, and some of them turn into friends. I have thousands of friends, literally. And every person that writes me, that used to be rich is saying things like, I had a nice house, or I still have a big fancy house. I had nice cars. I drive BMWs, and I don't know if I could pay for them tomorrow. That's how bad things are going. The people that Obama classifies as rich are under IRS attack. So they're paying legal fees. They're paying all kinds of money to the IRS. They're paying back taxes. The people that Obama calls rich are under SEC attack. They're under FDA attack. In other words, he uses the wheels of government to come after everyone. And then there's the regulation that prevents us from continuing to make money. In the first 90 days of 2013, this year, I'm not sure what's happened since. I got to go update that. I'm just so busy. I do 8 media interviews a day. And so I can't always update everything. But I know in the first 90 days of this year, the Obama administration added 6,118 new rules and regulations. That's an average of 68 new regulations a day. No wonder business is falling apart. No wonder everyone I know who's rich is scared to death. If you're middle class, think how scared you should be when every person that's rich that creates all the jobs is scared to death that they can't pay their mortgage or keep their business open tomorrow. All of this is part of the Cloward-Piven plan to bankrupt the rich, bring them to their knees, to beg government to save all of us. And you've now converted even small government Republicans to government checks. Obamacare, Chris, that's the single biggest factor in all of this. It was the central chapter in my book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. I said Obamacare isn't about bringing you health care. It's about unionizing 15 million healthcare workers, which will be $15 billion in new union dues to elect Democrats forevermore. And it's
Good
about
grief.
making sure every middle-class person comes to their knees and says, government has to pay for my health care because I can't afford $20,000 a year, and then the whole country is on the dole. It's all part of the same picture.
Wayne Allen Root is my guest right now. He's known as the capitalist evangelist, and he's got a book coming out called The Murder of the Middle Class. And Wayne, this week we found out that Dr. Benjamin Carson, who had that now famous parlay, if you will, at the prayer breakfast with Resident Obama. I call him Resident Obama because he's the occupier of the Oval Office. He doesn't conduct himself as an American president would, so I will not give him for the remainder of his term, unless he does an about face. I will not give him the honorific of president because he doesn't conduct himself as such. But Dr. Benjamin Carson came out saying that as soon as he had his little exchange at the prayer breakfast and really was critical of President Obama and his policies, guess who came knocking? It was the Internal Revenue Service. First time in his career he'd ever had an encounter with the IRS, as you aptly pointed out, is now operating in a political fashion at the behest of the current occupier of the Oval Office. And you have experience with this yourself.
Yeah, I've written about it at the Blaze, and again, I'm proud that I wrote about it in my book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, because my book came out April 15th, Chris. And so figure I wrote the book November, December, January, and finished it in February, which is like record-setting time. And then the book came out literally only 6 weeks after I finished writing it. But that still means I started the book last November. So I started the book almost a year ago, and the IRS scandal didn't come out until mid-April. So I was like a clairvoyant, a mind reader here. I'm the first guy I know of in America who was in the news for 2 years now saying that Obama's using the IRS to destroy small business and to destroy his critics and to kill Republican donors. And again, don't mistake my words. I don't mean kill as in murder physically. I mean kill as in distract you and intimidate you and take your money away and keep you from talking, silence you. And that's exactly what Nixon did, and that's why very few people remember that the articles of impeachment filed against Richard Nixon that forced him to resign the presidency. Number one was Watergate, but number two, just short of Watergate, number two was using the power of the IRS to go after your political opponents and silence free speech. And that's exactly what Obama's doing, except the media hated Nixon. They seethed with hate towards a white Republican president, and so they made sure that all of this was big news and Nixon was forced to resign. In Obama's case, if there were headlines day and night, he's the same as Nixon, he's the same as Nixon, he did what Nixon did, he's worse than Nixon, he's silencing free speech, he's destroying his political opponents, he's bankrupting Wayne Root, and all these top politicians on the Republican side, he'd be forced to resign yesterday. He'd be gone already. But the media won't do it. So when Ben Carson comes out, a few people have made a big deal about it. Heck, I came out 2 years ago. I've been one of the loudest spokesmen in America against Obama since before he was elected, because I was running against him in 2008 on the Libertarian presidential ticket, and day and night criticizing him and ripping him to shreds. And what were my exact words in campaign speeches in front of big crowds, in front of Fox News? I said, listen, if you want to vote for John McCain, I disagree with you. It's 4 more years of Bush, and I think Bush is horrible. He drove me out of the Republican Party because of his terrible spending. But if you vote for Obama, it's 4 years of Karl Marx. And I said that, and that was 5 years ago in 2008. And so you don't think he noticed I talked about being his college classmate at Columbia and the Cloward and Piven plan, and that he would be a communist who would destroy America and destroy capitalism, destroy the economy, and attack small business? I said all this, and suddenly IRS goons at my door day and night, long before Ben Carson. And now,
you don't.
I beat them twice, Chris, by the way. Just so you know, twice they ordered me. It covered 2 years each time, so 4 years looking under every line and every inch of my life, and came away both times without me owing 1 cent. And now Judicial Watch, you know that name, I'm sure.
I do.
Probably the best watchdog in America of bad government, and they've decided to take on my case, and they're literally demanding the IRS provide every inch of paperwork and files and emails and phone calls and names involved in my audits and why they were auditing me and what it was all about. And I think we're going to get to the bottom of this. I believe it was ordered direct from the Obama White House.
All right, you keep me posted on what goes on there. I also want to let the folks know that, look, all of these policies that have been instituted by President Obama and his administration, there can only be one intention. He cannot be this stupid. He cannot be this inept. I am only forced to conclude that there is intent here.
Chris,
Wayne Allen Root.
I love you because this is what I've always argued. You're the first person I've heard say the same thing as me. He's not stupid. He's brilliant. No one could be this stupid. I always say to liberals, there's only two choices, so go ahead and disagree with me. He's either the most ignorant, idiotic man to ever step foot in the White House, or he is brilliant and he knows exactly what he's doing. I believe he's brilliant. If you're a liberal, go ahead and disagree with me. Call your favorite president an idiot and a moron. Great, I'll live with that. I disagree, but that's the only two choices. Don't tell me that he's smart and this is a good plan. He's either dumb or he is brilliant and he's trying to destroy America.
Wayne, I'm up against the clock, so I want you to get in. Tell us what we can expect in about 30 seconds. The Murder of the Middle Class, which is going to be released next year, 2014. Give us a little sneak peek.
Well, you can expect me laying out the case for everything in Cloward and Piven, everything Obama's done, every program he's passed, and how in the end he says for every one of them it'll help the middle class, and in reality, every one of them helps destroy the middle class, and I'll show you the solutions in your own life as well. And by the way, my website is root4america.com.
He is the great Alan Root. He is the capitalist evangelist, the author of The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. It has been a pleasure, as always, talking with you here, buddy, on the Chris Salcedo Show.
Thanks, Chris. God bless.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.